For 80 years, the Valkyrie Empire erased humanity from the galaxy one colony at a time. Entire systems burned in orbital fire before distress calls could even escape local space. Mars fell first. Titan followed 3 years later. Then came the outer colonies, where billions vanished beneath alien extermination fleets that never slowed, never negotiated, and never left survivors. Every species in the galaxy believed humanity would eventually surrender. That was how wars ended. Civilizations broke. Populations scattered. Governments collapsed. But humans reacted differently. Every destroyed colony only made the remaining worlds more industrial, more militarized, more dangerous. Then the refugee fleets disappeared. Thousands of human ships fled beyond map space during the final years of the war. Alien scouts tracked them to the edge of dead sectors where stars no longer produced stable energy. No habitable planets existed there. No trade routes. No strategic value. The Valkyrie assumed the refugees had simply died in the dark. But over time, strange reports began surfacing near those abandoned regions. Mining stations found entire moons stripped hollow. Automated probes vanished without explanation. Listening posts detected engine signatures larger than anything ever constructed. One alien crew claimed they saw artificial sunlight moving through deep space before communication abruptly ended. The Valkyrie High Command dismissed most of it as fear-driven rumors until a border fleet disappeared near the Perseus expanse. No wreckage. No survivors. Only a final transmission repeating the same phrase again and again. Humanity's last city. That message reached Fleet Commander Raylos 2 weeks before his deployment. His orders were simple. Locate the final human refuge. Destroy whatever remained. End the war permanently. Raylos expected starving survivors hiding inside broken stations. Instead, as his fleet crossed into the dead sectors, long-range scanners detected an object drifting in complete silence beside a lifeless planet. At first, it looked like a continent floating in darkness. Then the object moved. OK, perfect. Now write script on act, keeping in mind don't repeat any. The object grew clearer as the fleet closed distance, and what Raylos had assumed was debris resolved into structure. Vast, layered, engineered complexity stretched across impossible dimensions. It was not a station. It was not a ship. It was something far larger, built with deliberate intent and terrifying precision. Sensor arrays struggled to comprehend its full scale. The entity occupied orbital space around the dead planet like a constructed ecosystem. Massive rotating segments formed artificial gravity bands. Entire mountain-sized plates shifted slowly along magnetic rails. Deep within the structure, light pulsed in rhythmic patterns like a living system maintaining itself. Then the readings deepened. The surface was not a surface at all. It was layered habitation. Cities stacked upon cities. Industrial zones fused into military complexes. Transit corridors spanned kilometers, carrying thousands of vessels through internal docking arteries. Heat signatures confirmed billions of active human lives distributed across the structure. Raylos ordered a full scan of the surrounding space. The results made no sense. The fortress was not orbiting the planet. It was consuming it. Gravitational harvesters were tearing apart the dead world below, extracting metals, gases, and core material. The planet was being dismantled piece by piece and funneled into the structure above. Entire continents had already vanished, leaving only fractured crust and hollowed voids. Then the weapons signatures appeared. Buried beneath the industrial layers were systems designed for mass extinction. Stellar ignition arrays. Planet-cracking mass drivers. Autonomous fleet factories capable of producing warships faster than any known empire could destroy them. Raylos realized the truth forming too slowly in his mind. This was not a refugee structure. It was not a survival ark. It was a production world. A mobile civilization designed to sustain war indefinitely. Before he could issue a retreat order, the fortress responded to their presence. And everything changed. The moment Valkyrie targeting systems locked onto the structure, the entire fortress reacted as if it had been waiting for that exact signal. Layers of its outer hull began to separate with mechanical precision, revealing structures hidden for centuries beneath reinforced plating. What looked like a city suddenly unfolded into a weaponized architecture of unimaginable scale. Docking corridors opened like jaws. Internal hangars expelled thousands of ships in perfectly coordinated waves. Each vessel bore human markings, but their designs were nothing like civilian craft. They were war-built, stripped of elegance, optimized for function and annihilation. Energy surged through conduits that ran across the fortress like exposed veins. Massive weapons platforms rotated into alignment, each one the size of small moons. Stellar cannons ignited, focusing light into compressed beams that bent space around them. The fabric of nearby orbit destabilized under the pressure alone. Raylos ordered immediate firing. The Valkyrie fleet launched a coordinated strike, unleashing plasma volleys capable of burning continents. The attack struck the fortress and disappeared into layered shields that absorbed, redirected, and neutralized the energy without visible damage. Then the response came. The fortress did not fire defensively. It advanced. Entire segments detached and moved forward like independent war zones, each carrying its own fleets and weapons infrastructure. Human warships poured out in relentless formations, engaging Valkyrie fleets with precision coordination that exceeded known tactical limits. They did not scatter. They adapted in real time, restructuring formations mid-combat. Raylos watched as his fleet began collapsing within minutes. Not through brute force alone, but through overwhelming synchronization. Every Valkyrie maneuver was predicted before execution. Every counterattack was already accounted for. Then the fortress broadcast the signal across open space. There was no demand. No warning. Only a declaration of expansion trajectory toward Valkyrie core territory. Humanity was no longer defending anything. Raylos no longer watched a battle. He watched collapse unfold in real time. The Valkyrie fleet, once considered the most efficient extermination force in known space, was being dismantled without pause or hesitation. Every formation they attempted dissolved before it stabilized. Human warships continued emerging from the fortress in waves that never slowed. Each wave carried variations in design, as if entire generations of military evolution were being produced simultaneously. Some vessels specialized in long-range suppression, others in close-range annihilation, and others in electronic warfare that erased targeting systems from existence. The fortress itself was no longer stationary. It had begun moving, dragging its planetary-scale mass forward through space with terrifying momentum. Gravitational distortions formed around its path as it accelerated toward the Valkyrie border zones. It was not holding position. It was advancing as a single unified weapon. Valkyrie commanders attempted emergency withdrawal protocols, but retreat corridors collapsed under sustained disruption. Communication networks broke apart under targeted interference. Entire command structures lost synchronization as human systems systematically dismantled coordination chains. Raylos received the final intelligence report from his failing fleet network. It contained only fragmented data, but the pattern was clear. This was not an isolated weapon. Multiple similar structures had been detected beyond previously charted space. Some already active, others still forming. The implications spread through his command like a silent contagion. Humanity had not built one fortress. They had built a distributed system of war cities, each capable of independent galactic conquest. A final transmission arrived from the human network, overriding all channels. It contained no language of diplomacy or surrender. Only a structural expansion directive mapping trajectories toward Valkyrie core worlds. Raylos understood then that the Valkyrie Empire had never been fighting a scattered refugee species. They had been delaying contact with a civilization designed entirely for extinction-scale warfare.